Just imagine this. We take Nigeria's oil, we bring it to South Africa, we refine that oil, and then we export that oil to the West. How much money would the continent of Africa make? How much employment opportunities would we create for Africans? Now, guys, if we are being honest, no continent has the number of natural resources that the continent of Africa has. So I think it's high time that as Africans, we unite, Kwame Nkrumah had a vision of a United States of Africa. I think the new generation needs to work towards that, to that new United States of Africa, where Africa's resources belong to Africa. The fact that we operate as individual countries makes it easy for the West and for China and all these other places to come to the continent and dominate. I mean, there's strength in numbers. If we are united as a continent and we use our resources amongst ourselves, just imagine this. We take Nigeria's oil, we bring it to South Africa, we refine that oil, and then we export that oil to the West. How much money would the continent of Africa make? How much employment opportunities would we create for Africans? But the problem that we have is we have heads of state that think only for themselves. But I think there's power in unity. I think there's strength in unity. And if we unite as Africans, we can do a lot. We can be needle movers. Let me just tell you something, man. You could be from anywhere in the African continent. Africans are not respected because we are seen as takers and not as people who contribute to the world. But when you look at the natural resources that we have, we can produce our own food. We can produce oil. We can produce gold. We can produce any natural resource. We can produce cobalt. Look at what's happening in Congo. So we can produce cobalt. We can produce all these minerals that can enrich the rest of the continent if we decide to unite as a continent. So if there's anything that I could change as an African, or if there's anything I could change about the continent of Africa, it would be for us to unite both economically and socially. Because guys, the idea of an African being a foreigner in an African soil, that idea is ludicrous. I think we are indoctrinated by the West to hate ourselves, and I think that it's time we changed that. And I think it's the responsibility of us as young people to change that narrative. We are all Africans. I may be in South Africa, I may be in Ghana, but the fact that you are born in Africa means you are an African. And so we need to unite. One of the things that I'm enjoying and one of the things that I love to see is the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. I think that's a step in the right direction that will allow us to trade amongst ourselves as African so that we can have a positive impact in the world. Africa is going to fail because Africa is not united. I think Africa is poor because Africa is not united in utilizing its resources. Guys, let's be honest, we have everything we need. Europe does not have the minerals that we have, but what do they have? They have unity, they have technology that they use to keep us oppressed. Guys, we have a continent, we are the youngest continent in the world. So young people in Africa can really make an impact. We can make an impact as the young people of this continent if we decide to unite and work together. Let's ignore our elders and their prejudices, and let's try and unite for a better Africa. So if there was anything I could change, would be to make sure that we have an Africa that is united. The corruption that is in our continent is setting us back. Now, I made a video and I was speaking about South Africa, and I said corruption is not our biggest problem, right? And I said in that video that the biggest problem we have as a country, I was talking specifically to South Africa, is that we consume way more than we produce. And that is true. Even in the rest of the continent, we consume way more than we produce. The West comes to our continent, to our countries. and they loot our resources. They take them to the West, refine them, and then they bring them back to us and sell them to us at 10 times more because they are now refined. But if we unite as a continent and we do the refining ourselves, we can take the same products and export them to the West or to the Western world and the Western countries. So the problem is we consume way more than we produce. I stick by that statement, but I also think we need to address the issue of corruption. Now, it is a big problem, but it's not our biggest problem. I think that we need to learn as Africans to produce way more than we consume. I think that's something that we need to learn. I think we need to learn how we can take the resources that we have and make them better and create more employment for people. But then the next phase, we need to fight against corruption in the continent, because that is destroying economies. African leaders that are corrupt need to be found and, prosecuted. No one is above the law. The issue of corruption is something that we really need to work out and to sort out. Guys, before I make this video too long, these are the thoughts that I have. Hopefully you found value in this video. Thank you so much, guys. God willing, I will see you in the next one. Cheers.